Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. I am so glad to be here with you. Tanya, she says, thank goodness for alarms. I was out cold. Well, I'm glad you woke up in time to hang out with us today. Oh, Margaret, you are up super early as well. Glad to see you here. I see a few other lurkers in the background. Let me know, is the volume okay? You can hear me all right? I've got my mic placed a little bit differently today. Hey, Joanne, how are you doing? I'm wearing makeup, people. First time in ages that I'm wearing makeup. So I'm experimenting because I have a photo shoot coming up. Hey, Hummer, you made it. You're having a good day. You're able to be here. Hopefully your eyes are doing okay. All right, good. Bright and clear. Volume is nice. Hey, Kat. Hey, Philippa. Oh, look at this. Oh, thank you, Hummer. I'm just, I haven't done makeup in ages. I actually put a little mascara on because my eyelashes have gone so gray that they disappear. So I figure the photo shoot is in like a couple weeks, and hopefully by then I'll get a little bit better at it. Did Mouse peek in and I didn't see her? Hey, and oh, what a wonderful full house we have today. Well, hopefully some of you in the Facebook group, or if you follow me on Facebook or on Instagram, you've seen some of the pictures of the big wildscape that is coming along. I try to put pictures on my posts, on my community posts on YouTube, but because I have to be square and this thing is so big, I can't get everything in. And I don't quite, maybe at the end, I know what I'll do. At the end, I will turn the camera and drag it over so you can maybe see it as it is. There is Mouse. So I am head down working on that. I am probably not going to be doing a lot of stitching for the next couple of weeks. I am trying, I had hoped to get it done by the end of this month, which is Monday. That's not going to happen. But the deadline, okay, there's the show. If you take my newsletter, you would have seen all about this. Hey, Nancy. Oh, you're going to try a wildscape too. Awesome. If you are in our Facebook group, and if not, let's see. Oh, I don't have any mods here yet. Hey, Sue. If you search on Facebook, Nancy, for Susan Taylor Brown Creative Circle, normally I have it in the description, but I didn't get that added in yet today. You can go to one of my older live streams and look in the background or look in the description, and you should see the link, because we would love to see your journey. And if you are you on Instagram, so we can follow you over there, because I know it's usually a lot of people will do regular posts. And I'm keeping a tally. Sorry, Tally wants some attention, so she's getting some licks. Thank you, Andrea. She says it's looking good. I'm keeping a tally of, no, I don't have a cat. Thank goodness, right? Because it would be jumping up on everything. It's enough that Tally can reach up and grab things if she wants them. I'm keeping a tally of the number of components that I'm putting on here. So far we are at about 350 individual components like this. Thank you, Joanne. Yes, I got 8 inches cut off. So 8 inches. Okay, you do have a Facebook page and a YouTube channel. Okay, so Nancy said she is going to also build a wildscape. So if you want to follow her journey, make sure, and I'm going to tag you so that I remember afterwards to go look for you. Yeah, I just thought it would be kind of interesting, Kat, to keep track of how many components I put on, because I work on so much of this, off the hoop, that trying to keep track of it. So far about 350 individual components, 6, I'm calling them islands of French knots, 1 of water, and 11 rocks. And so at the end of each day, I'm just going to do a tally so that I can kind of keep track of it. And we'll see. It's always fun to look at numbers, right? And I'm going to take the circumference and kind of figure out how many French knots approximately I have. There's no way I could count them all. I mean, I used to try to think if I could do, a small amount of French knots and then count them, that would work. But, not for me. So I've been struggling with how to put it together. So if you've seen anything on Instagram or Facebook, or like I said, in my newsletter, shoot, I don't have that handy either. Wait a minute. I'm going to grab the link for one thing. Because you guys are so patient with me, I know that you don't mind that I'm going off to do this right now. I'm going to grab the link for, let's see, of course, nothing goes fast when you're in a hurry, right? And I'm not going to be in a hurry. This is just, it is what it is. And I'm not going to worry about anything beyond that. Okay. Oh, this is a hideous link. Wait a minute. Let me make it shorter. Okay. If you go to this link, you can read the newsletter that just went out yesterday. And if you like it, you could subscribe. You know, you could do that. But that will show you a lot of the series of what I've been going through. Tanya says, not having a cat means your customers can rest assured that they are getting 100% pure tally hair. Yes. Sue said, sharing those numbers in artist statements for the piece will make it more impressive to the viewers. That's kind of what I was thinking. Kat said, but every fiber is different in French knot size, so impossible to count. Yeah, what I'm going to do is just kind of, you know, so if this, whoops, let me change my cameras. First time you've seen me in my chair? Maybe because there was too much more of me. Let's see. I don't know if you guys will be able to see. No, I can't go down low enough. I put on a pair of jeans, and like all my clothes now, they're all too big. And I walked in to show my husband, and the very first thing he said is, wow, and look how big those are on you. So I'm definitely changing my body shape right now. Okay, let's shift this around over here. So for the French knots, this is the closest I came up with to do because I saw somebody else do this. Mao said, I think I saw a smaller white creature walk behind you in front of the blackboard. It would be Tally. It depends on where the camera is. I mean, I'm in my chair. So if she walks behind me, if she's back all the way back by that's the fireplace. So if she's all the way back by the fireplace, she looks smaller. Oh, the chair, when I turn, oh, you're looking, oh, this is my Herman Miller chair that I have had for 25 years, maybe longer. Now it's about 25 years. It is the most comfortable chair, and it has arms, but I took them off. So it's absolutely perfect for me, worth every penny. So I saw somebody else do this on French knots, and she took the circumference of her area, and then she just counted a small amount. And I figure if I count like in a few different sections, I can get an average. So I can give an approximation of how many French knots I'm using. That's the best I figure I can come up with. One of these days when I have time, I might, you know, like do a very slow video, and then I can speed it up to show. Hey, Wendy is here, and she changed her name, Letters to Sunflowers. All right, so today, because I'm not stitching, because my brain is just all about this finish line, the deadline for submission is April 15th. And the reason I want to get into this show, or at least apply, I mean, I'd really love to get in, but the reason I want to apply is it only happens once every 2 years. And the venue is in Sebastopol, which is just, you know, a few hours from me. And a very dear friend of mine that has been helping me on my art journey for years lives up there. So I can go up there, spend time with her, and, you know, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, that's my goal. I talked to my framer today about my issues with hanging it. And she like took a huge amount of a weight off my shoulders about how I was going to do it. And she said she can help me with the final bits of it. So that's good. But I have to get it to her maybe by April 10th so that they can do that. So I can get in to see the photographer. That's kind of so April 10th is what I have in my head to get things done. Sue said, awesome about losing weight in inches. Thank you. Yeah. The bad thing is if I took everything out of my closet that didn't fit anymore, that was too big, I would have no clothes left. Literally. So it's a good problem to have, but now I have to figure things out. Yeah, earlier than the 10th would be even better. But you know what? The submission is due on the 15th, so I can be working on the artist statement and things. The photographer, it's only going to be one piece that he has to photograph. He can always squeeze me in, so it's a half-hour time for him. So I could even see him, on the 14th would be fine. But if I can get it to the framer by the 10th, that would be really awesome. So here's what I'm doing today. When I am looking for fillers, and this is something for Nancy and Kat, if you haven't already figured this kind of thing out, sometimes when you put something, this just happened to be what I had handy, you put something on, you've got your grasses, you put them on, and you have space that you want to fill in. So sometimes I'll take eyelash yarn and I can, weave that in there. And sometimes I have a little bigger space. So if I have knots that I have made, they fill things in really nice. And so, and the other thing is, this is both recycled yarn, and it's not always the best to stitch with because it breaks. Hi, Barbara. I don't know if I said hi to you when you came in. So it's a good thing to do with knots because it doesn't matter if it breaks off. And I pay no attention to anything when I'm stitching. So it's a good thing to do where I can chat too. I don't say that this is what I'm going to be doing for the next few weeks, but don't be surprised if we do knots again. When I'm doing knots, I just cut off a length. Yeah, and it's you can use your scraps. If you're doing something that can have like an underwater scene, you could use lots of multicolored scraps and just keep knotting it together. I could mix these up if I wanted to, but I don't want to. So I'm just going to add this one on here and just literally not worry about, I don't worry about these little edges because you can cut them off or you can tuck them in. And I truly just I don't even look. It's a great thing to do while you're watching TV. And then I look down every so often. It's like, okay, I can do this. And if you get a big long chunk of it and you want it to be bigger, you can just knot it over yourself. So I think that's what's happening in my world. Is there anything else going on? I had a photo shoot was going to be scheduled for today. And I decided with trying to make the deadline, I didn't need to have a photo shoot today. She's going to do studio shots and some shots out in the garden. So I decided I wanted to wait until I had the big piece done so I could get some shots of me with that. We're going to do some partials a little bit later. My husband's going to help me with some of them, but I don't want to put a lot of effort into that. I have a headshot that I can use for my entry if I need it. And gosh, no, I pushed everything out. I had doctor's appointments. I rescheduled everything for after the 15th. It was like, nope, I do not want to have to worry about anything else. I'm just going to stitch and continue to go down for my training sessions with my physical trainer. I did get my second knee injection yesterday, so I've got one more next Tuesday. The first one, oh my goodness, it was agony. It was not like that the first round I had 6 months ago, but this time around they really hurt. But he did something a little differently yesterday, and I don't hurt nearly as much, which is nice because pain makes it a little bit hard to concentrate. So what is everybody working on? Kat, I bet, is working on another terrarium, but maybe not. Maybe she's doing something else. And I'm always surprised at how much you can accomplish with knots in a short amount of time if you don't, not trying to be perfect about it. So it doesn't matter if I have little bits like this hanging off because you're not going to see them, or I can bury them. I'll get this one longer and I'll show you what I mean about knotting it. Sue said, I got some more flying geese sewn up out of scraps. You are just going through all the scrap things. Kat said, I'm currently working on social media management. I got a strange burst of energy for it. That's awesome. It's hard to get energy for social media stuff sometimes, especially so many things are changing in the social media world, which is my cue to say, if there is an artist like me or somebody else that you really enjoy following, they may change their platforms that they're on, or you might decide to change the platforms that you're on. So it might behoove you to go see if they have a newsletter that you can sign up for, which I do, and you can follow them that way in case you lose touch with them. You know, they might decide to leave Instagram or Facebook or wherever. Tanya says, good call on rescheduling, allow for focus. Yeah, that's what I thought. I didn't have anything critical. The only doctor one I'm going to make sure I go to is next week is my third shot. Wendy is currently embroidering a butterfly. Nice. Andrea said, I've just finished framing my coral reef piece. Oh, I love seeing how that one has evolved from when you were just using up all your scrap threads. Margaret is still on my collage course. After the cyclone scattered my energy, it took me a while to get the rhythm back, but on track now. Yeah, whenever you have that kind of a threat, even if it's not a direct threat, just knowing that that is, you know, hanging over your head, it's very hard to focus. It's kind of like pain, right? Between pain and weather threats. I know when we had the threat of having to evacuate, you couldn't concentrate on anything. Tanya said, I have a Moco Jumble Soul I've been working on for 2 weeks now. Got the body and head made, but I'm dragging my feet for painting and dressing it. Oh, will you please post that in the Facebook group? Post it before he's done so we can see what it all looks like. I'm fascinated by clay work. Is this one clay? I'm assuming. Nancy says, I'm working on a vest that I covered with a crazy quilt, and then I'm embroidering and embellishing. Like it so far. Nancy, are you lining it after all the stitches done, or are you not going to worry about that? I guess with the vest, it wouldn't matter so much. Now that I have a bunch of clothes that are too big, I've been looking at things that I could, you know, play with and modify, and wondering about, I would stink at lining things, but maybe it wouldn't matter. A vest would be a good idea if I could do like scraps of things. So if I had a, like for Open Studios, I could have it on. Oh, you did just post a few pictures, Andrea. Thank you. I'm going to check them out after the live. Tanya said, you inspired me though, Susan. I'm going to make his hair dreadlocks in bullion and drizzles. Yay! Another thing you can do is this jute doesn't do it, but if you can find a really tight woven yarn or thread or cord, you can unravel it, and then you get, let's see, wait a minute, I have some. And it gets even more curly when it's, so these are some of my grasses, and that's just hemp cord that's been unraveled. So that's another option for dreadlocks. Nancy said, I think I'm going to have to line it. Yeah, that's what I would figure. You know, and I wouldn't wear it that often, so I don't know if I could make myself do it, but I might. There's often calls for shows for wearable art, so that might motivate me. Maybe I've got a couple of green blazers that I really liked, but they're way too big now, but I figure embroidering on them would make them smaller, so maybe I could make that a project over time. Tanya said, making jumbo doll or Moko Jambir. I'm probably mispronouncing it. I'm sorry. They're traditional African, Caribbean stilt walkers who are spirits that dance during festivals and special events like Carnival. Are you going to make them on stilts? Hey, Terry, how are you doing? What about shows for wearable art? Kat, do you know about Cafe? I think it's just cafe.com. Let me look and see. Pronounced Muck-O Jumbi. Muck-O Jumbi, is that it? And Barbara, because I know you keep a list, ENT is Tanya in our Facebook group. Let's see. I'm looking up a link for Kat. Nope, that's not it. Call for entry. It is. Okay. The link is for any of you looking to enter shows. There are a lot of ones out there, but did I get that right? Nope, I'm sorry. Kat, that's the wrong link. It is .org is what it was supposed to be. But it's a great place to go look for whatever. He's on stilts. Okay, good, Tanya. Good to know. You can. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing some pictures. Barbara, yes. Ent is Tanya in our Facebook group. That is it. And Kat, there's a whole lot of other ones. If you just search for calls for wearable art, Fiber Art Now is the quarterly magazine. If you like that more of that kind of stuff, beautiful magazine, definitely filled with inspiration. And they definitely have one issue a month that they put out a call for wearable art. And there's a lot of other, I've just saw a couple other ones. Tanya, that's I think it's with a YA. Yeah, YA. Terry, sometimes naps are necessary, right? We just need to recharge our batteries. Okay, so see that little, and it looks interesting. It's like something you would imagine, once you start stitching them down. Oh, yes, definitely. And if you just search on Google calls for entry wearable art, I'm sure you're going to find a lot more. All right, we need another piece, so we're just going to, here's a question for you guys. New scissors, do they loosen up over time, or did I get a bum pair? I hadn't achieved critical mass with these yet, and boy, this pair is really stiff. You got up way too early, Terry? That'll do it, I tell you. But sometimes, you need to recharge, even if you didn't get up early. So sometimes I'll do a long thing like that, and then that means for a few knots, it's going to be thicker, and that'll give a different effect. The nice thing about making knots is there's no rules. Hey, Philippa, if you're still hanging out with us, what are you working on? Are you teaching any more classes? I know you were teaching schools. I have now 4 pairs of these, Mouse, because these are my favorite pair of scissors for stitching. And let's see, where's my, okay. So I want them at each of the places that I sit. So these go really easy. These are a little bit better, a little bit stiffer. But these, I really have to work to open them. So I'm really hoping that they're going to, I figured I'd use them for this. So see, now I've got like 4 strands. So of course, you could cut a whole bunch at once. But again, the nice thing about this is that about doing these when I'm live is I just don't have to pay that close attention to anything. I can just, make the knots. Well, because these are inexpensive. I mean, they're great scissors. They were only like $6, but there's no screw or it's covered and we can't get to it. So hopefully I'll be watching TV and I'll be sitting here doing this, right? Philippa said, no classes this year. I've been playing with jelly printed paper and making journals full of color and texture. Sue said, would a drop of oil on the joint help those scissors loosen up? Maybe. I'll give it a try. Barbara, these are the scissors you're talking about. These are also awesome scissors. And they are very nice. And you're right. I should probably have a couple more pairs of these in each location. But sometimes I need, this is just like a slightly shorter. I have tiny ones, but the trouble with the really tiny embroidery things is fingers can kind of get stuck if you go in there at the wrong angle. WD-40, graphite powder. Oh, yeah, these are really nice, especially for our older hands that get the arthritis. Another bonus on the losing weight. This bracelet that my husband gave me years ago, I wasn't able to wear for a long time because my wrist was too snug. And now I've got lots of room. Makes me happy. All right, so now I'm just going to take this big one and I'm just going to add it here. I've got space. I can tie another one on here. Try a drop of oil right down the crack, then use paper towels to be sure you wick it out before you use it on cloth or thread. All great ideas. Thank you. See, I love the brain trust here. Now, sometimes what I'll do is decide I want to come off at another angle. And so I'll just bring a thread in here somewhere. And let's make this one doubled. Yeah, Terry says I like the orange style. I like them both. I don't often have a need. I've got a couple pairs of really nice fabric scissors, you know, that are big. See, this is why I don't stitch with this. I go to tie the knot and it pulls off. So it's, and I could probably stitch with it just fine, but it's not the best for stitching. So that just changes how this is going to look a little bit. Doesn't matter. All right, so now I'll leave this one off to the side. It just kind of becomes, and sometimes I'll like, oh, okay, I don't like the way this one is coming together. I'll put it aside. I'll start a new one. But I've got space here. We can, you know, sometimes you just want to add a little bit of texture and you don't want to thread a needle. I mean, I'll have to thread a needle to attach it, but I just like bumpy things and texture. I can just imagine this, you know, growing alongside a rock. Sue said, I used some metallic floss on the postcard I made yesterday. That just about took the joy out of the project for me, but it needed sparkle. Yeah, it's, I mean, I love the look of the metallic, and I have some that I'm thinking if I have time at the end, I might add a few threads to my water, but holy cow, is that stuff a pain. There is one, shoot, I have to look it up. Megan, who is Megan Embroiders on Instagram and Facebook, I can never pronounce her last name, Zawaski or something. She mentioned one because she uses a lot of sparkles and she does a lot of stump work, insects and things. There was one that she liked, but I can't remember. Kat, do you know of an embroidery floss / thread that sparkles that is not a horror to stitch with? Yeah, Megan's work is amazing. Terry said, OMG, I saw your recent post. Your project is huge. Yeah, it really is. It's going to be heavy. I think it's going to weigh about 50 pounds when it's done by the time I get all the rocks on it. Megan's work is just something else. And she is so prolific. If anybody's going to sucker me into a compare game, it's usually looking at how fast Megan turns work around. And it's like, okay, she's young. That's fine. It's not me. I can't do it. Tanya says, wait a minute. I missed the beginning. Regarding weight, you are doing amazingly. Totally inspiring me. I got my new pain med last week. Yay. And it's helping me be motivated to move more. Doesn't kill the pain, but my brain doesn't care as much or hyper focus on it. So I'm actually getting out for walks again. Joy, that is wonderful. And it helps so many things, just being able to move again. Did you read my newsletter, Tanya? Because that really talks a little bit more about my journey. Yeah, Kat, it's always a pain to use the metallics, isn't it? And they can add so much. I'm going to have to ask Megan. I'm pretty sure she had mentioned one that was not nearly as much of a pain to deal with. I can't remember what it was. It was like last year. All right, so this is going to need a lot because it's thin thread. So the next half hour, let's do the thicker stuff. And did I cut a piece? I didn't cut it. Mouse said, I've heard of massive weight loss resulting in divorce because wedding rings keep slipping off. Yeah, so this time of the day, my hands do swell up a little bit, but I can spin this around and we'll see how easily that slides off. And the other day, I have to wear this one on my other hand if I'm wearing it right now. The other day, I was pulling a needle through like this, and my wedding ring just flew across the room. And then this one is getting very loose too. So I am not going to get them resized until I feel like I'm stabilized, and I'm still a ways to go on that. But yeah, that happens. Now, if I could just figure out how I could sleep, because my back, definitely bone on bone in a few sections. Oh, Barbara says, my cat is being insistent on being time to go outside in her vest and leash. Lovely to see everyone today. Well, enjoy your time outside with Kitty. Bye, Barbara. So I just can't sleep for very long on my back, and I can't turn on either one of my sides because of the problems with my shoulders. So after about 4 hours of sleep, I just lay there in pain and just kind of shift back and forth. Every once in a while, if I take a muscle relaxer, I can get like 6 hours, and that just feels amazing. It's beautiful at your place, Barbara. Wow, we are got drizzles and cloudy, gloomy skies. Meanwhile, Sue says, Gracie just came in with very wet feet and wants to be in my lap. Of course. Now we were able to get a little walk in before it started dripping on us again. It's just really drippy right now, and I didn't want to walk underneath all the trees and get dripped on. We're not getting any inches. Kat says, how do you feel your time when stuck in bed? I struggle sometimes. Well, in the middle of the night, if I'm lucky, Tally is up snuggling with me and I can just pet her. I shift back and forth. I think about, I basically think about stitches. Barbara said, Susan, you should make Sue Brown a mod. YouTube just held that last comment of hers for review. What? Oh my goodness. Yeah. Thanks for catching that, Barbara. Wow. Since I don't have you, I should probably keep YouTube open so I can check that every so often. I really kind of plan out projects, and I think about titles, and then I think about future projects, because now that I have done one piece, well, I'm not done, but working on one piece that's large, I'm starting to think about how I might treat other projects that were big, how I might do them differently. So now look at the difference, in the size of the yarn. Now I could get knots like this if I did like maybe using 6 threads, 6 strands of yarn, but I like the variety, and I just love this color. This was cheap. This was, do I have it up here? I don't have it up here anymore. It was like $6 for this giant skein. Mouse said, it said that Rene Descartes, I never say that name right, came up with the Cartesian coordinate system while in bed, unable to sleep. I have another friend who has chronic insomnia, and she gets up and knits, but I can't get out of bed. If I get out of bed, then I don't go back to bed, and yeah, that doesn't work for me. I'm going to make this one 2 of these thick ones. We'll just see what that does. Mouse, what have you been up to lately? I'm assuming it's gloomy over at your place today too, huh? We don't have Big Mama today. Oh, I think this was the day she was traveling to speak. I can't remember, but I think that's what she said. Unless she's lurking, because she does that too. Tanya said, humans are built for biphasic sleep, 2 periods of sleep at night with a period of wakefulness in the middle. Okay, well then I'm perfectly human. Kind of flip to my side and put the pillow between my knees. And then as soon as my shoulder starts to hurt, I got to move to a different position. All right, this one's going to want a lot more. Yeah, Gloomy Mouse said. Mouse is only about 15 minutes from me. All right, so this is going to be a neat little thing to add. So let's just get another chunk of this big yarn. I realized that I have a huge stash of my fingering dyed yarn, but I do not have a lot of jumbo. So I'll be scouting the eBay sales for that. Joanne said, I didn't know that, Tanya. It sounds right. At least it excuses away a few things, right, Joanne? Mal said, also gloomy politics has affected my work. A bit of it unnecessarily chaotic. Yeah. Margaret said, me too. I'm always awake for several hours in the middle of the night. Hummer said, try sleepy time tea chamomile. I don't have any trouble falling asleep. It's after having been on my back for about 3 or 4 hours that I'm in pain. Andrea said, in medieval time, people had 2 sleeps. Did they get up and go fight a battle in between, or how did they? Because I can't turn on a light because that would wake up my husband and the dog. And if I get out of bed, yeah, I would have a hard time, I think, going back to sleep. Wait a minute. What did Philippa say that I missed? Oh, Philippa said, I use word association method to shut my brain up. Takes a bit of practice, but mostly works, and I sleep. So then Sue wants to know, what is the word association method you use, Philippa? That would be interesting. Tanya said, there are a number of studies on biphasic sleep. Lots to read if you look it up. Helped me rethink my insomnia and work more naturally with my sleep time. So do you get up then, Tanya, when you're not sleeping, or do you stay in bed and do something else? What do you do in that non-sleeping time? Margaret said, yes, Andrea. Oh, they would have a meal and do chores before going back to bed. Wow. I wonder if I could do that. Because when I get up, after I get up in the morning, if I'm up for, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes, I don't hurt anymore. Wendy said, Barbara had to leave. I was going to tell Barbara that Wendy is now Letters to Sunflowers. I stay up late and I have my alone time. Love it. Also had the thought that I'm so glad I don't name my work. It would have names like Long and Short Socks. Oh, I hate Long and Short Stitch. I'm never doing my waterway like that again. I'm going back to doing the several layers of fabric to get the effect that I want. Philippa said, you pick 2 words that are similar and you start saying them in your head to override your thoughts. I now time them to my breathing. And my words are rhubarb, tree, and I visualize a tree. Interesting. I do breathing exercises while I'm awake. I do manage that. Anytime you can do breathing exercises, I think it's good for your heart, it's good for your lungs, and it's good for, just stress, general stress. Andrea said they slept when it got dark, woke for a few hours and went back to sleep. They would look for prowlers. Margaret said, I usually watch YouTube videos when I'm awake at night. Yeah, I wouldn't turn on anything with light and wake up my husband. Tanya said, during your wakeful time, headphones and a podcast. I do not listen to podcasts. I cannot listen to disembodied voices. I need to have a video podcast. If anybody knows video podcasts with artists, please tell me, because I can't find any more of them. I just cannot listen to voices. I love music and I listen to people singing, but if they're talking, let's see. But knots actually might be something I could do. That's a good idea. Terry said, probably needed to feed the fire. That's true in medieval times. Joanne said, oh yeah, my sleep interruptions coincide with how much water I drink during the day. Less water, less trips to the bathroom. Yep, I figured out I have to stop drinking water between 7:30 and 8. That's pretty much it. And I can get up then between 2 or 3. Sue said, I have a hard time getting to sleep, but once there, I'm generally good for the night. I would be good for the night if I wasn't in pain. Philippa said, takes a bit of practice, but can now make it work in about 10 minutes. Wow, that's terrific, Philippa. Tanya said, I wake up around 3 a.m. and if my pain won't let me go to sleep, I go into the living room and work on art. When I'm sleepy again, I go back to bed. I would really confuse the dog. Boy, if I started doing that, she'd like, is it time to get up? It's still dark out. But I like your idea about maybe knots, because for an upcoming project, I need to do a lot of knots. Kat said, I highly prefer video podcasts. I like watching people's expressions. No artist recommendations, though. Raffi was here, and he's not a fiber artist. He's a painter and sometimes collage, I think. But if you go through, some of his stuff is not relatable, but a lot of his earlier podcasts, video podcasts, where he and his wife Clee are talking about just being artists, being working artists, shows, that kind of stuff, were really entertaining. I've just watched them all. Mama Boom Bam says, I give myself a hug and repeat, I'm safe, I'm fine, all can wait. That's a good one. And welcome, coming out of lurk mode or first timer. We are glad to see you here. We'd love to know what kind of work you like to do creatively. Kat said, Tanya, I have chronic pain as well. I feel you. Mouse said, I do the breathing visualization of my pain leaving with my breath. That's a good idea. Kat said, sounds like we have a lot of spoonies here. Spoonies. Do you mean like how many spoons have you used in your day, or do you mean something else? I feel like at the end of the day now, I still have spoons left over. And that feels like huge progress for me. 6 months ago, that definitely wasn't the case. Yeah, how much energy used during the day. Yeah. I mean, and it's not at night, not sleeping for me isn't because I've used too much energy. It's just the fact that there's so much arthritis, bone on bone in my back, that I can't lay in one position for more than a few hours. And because of the 2 shoulder impingements, I can't sleep on my side. That's all it is. Joanne said, welcome, Mama. Terry said, spoon sisters. Yes. Mama says, I like to crochet, draw, paint, sew, stitch. Thank you for asking. Oh, so you are like so many of us, where we like to have our fingers in all the pies, because everything is just too much fun to kind of just do one thing. Well, we are happy to have you here. You are totally welcome to join our Facebook group if you are on Facebook and enjoy it. It's just a very low-key group where people can ask questions and share any of their current projects. I do not have the link handy, but it is Susan Taylor Brown Creative Circle. You can search for it. It's a private group, so it is a safe place. Tanya said, have you all heard of the Gateway Experience? Audio sound that includes meditative states and allows for astral projection. That's what I do if I'm not in pain. Puts me to sleep in about 5 minutes. Wow. That sounds like something worth checking out. Now, you could put this down like this, but imagine if you're stitching it down and you're doing something like this, then you could take your other ones and feed it in, or you could take your eyelash yarn, which I don't have any of that over here, and feed it in. Let's see, I need to mark this so I remember to come back and look this one up later. That sounds interesting, Tanya. Yeah, sounds like most of us fill up with the spoons. You know, I to have spoons left over, it just feels amazing to me. Joanne said, Tanya, I listen to subliminals with rain sounds or brown noise. I like rain sounds too. And sometimes I do that, but lately I don't have trouble falling asleep. It's the, getting up at 2 or 3 and going to the bathroom and realize how much I hurt. It's like, now what? Terry said, I saw a video commercial today with Jack Black and Jason Momoa. They were wearing Granny Square custom jackets. Beautiful. Wow. That's kind of cool. Mama said, love me some rain sounds. Where are you located, Mama? We are all over the world here. I'm in California. We have people as far away as Scotland, Australia, New Zealand, and all over the United States. Oh, and South Africa. I think I hit all the outside of the U.S. countries. All right, I think this skein is going to be all knots, and I'm going to put it by my bed maybe. Oh, you're in Canada. Oh, I forgot to leave it. I left out Canada, although Carol's not here, I don't think, today. So unless she's lurking, which is totally fine. Wendy said, we live near factories and when they're all silent, I cannot sleep. Oh my. Oh, and turkey. That's right. When Julia's here, we have turkey. Yeah, it's really cool. I need to get my friend from Poland to see if I don't know what time it is in Poland right now, but it would be cool if she could join us too. Hummer said, I went yesterday to the doctor. I'm going to get a nerve block next week. The last one lasted me 2 years. Oh, awesome. Looking forward to it then. My sleep will be better. God bless us all and everything we touch. That's right. And sometimes Sweden. Hummer, where are you getting the nerve block for what kind of pain, if you don't mind me asking? I'm thinking there's probably one, not in my immediate future, but down the road future for my back. I figured out my neck issue. So, while it sometimes hurts, I can at least work with that. And a lot, when I go work with my physical trainer, I tell her all the things that are hurting, and we always make sure we do exercises that are making those body parts stronger. I can't believe what a difference it made getting my knees or getting my legs and thighs and knees stronger to my knee pain. And so now when these gel shots finish taking effect, it should be even better. All right, so I think I'm going to do separate ones of these because sometimes one of the things I try to do, and I don't know whether somebody told me this years ago or whether it's just a Susan thing that I've got in my head, I wouldn't want to put just 2, me, I like odd numbers. I wouldn't want to do just 2 of these. So I want to have 3 so that the same color is represented in at least 3 places on my piece. That's my goal. Hummer said, oh, my sciatica, it hurts to breathe. Oh. Mama said, I find one pillow or no pillow for neck pain at night. Yes, I totally agree with you. We have so many pillows that are no longer being used because I used to be a side sleeper all the time until my shoulders got so bad. And I have a very, very thin, an old duck down pillow. And then I have a new down pillow that's a little bit thicker. And I need to go down to the local place and see if they can make me one like my thin one. And sometimes when my neck is really bad, I just kick the pillow out from underneath my neck and just go no pillow. Because I have the same problem in chairs. If it's too cushy in the wrong place, it pushes my head forward, or in the car. And then that just causes all kinds of pain too. This getting older, it's not for sissies. But I don't feel like I'm 66 years old. So That's good. My body might be that old, but in my head, I feel more like about 45. All right. Now let's just do this. I'm just gonna keep making weird knots. That's all there is to this. Weird knots, because why not? I mean, it's really nice to have some things that you can't do wrong. You can't make knots wrong. Your perfectionist does not get a voice in making knots. Mama says, keeping my chin up helps with neck pain during the day. I had to train myself to be aware. It's really, I agree that makes a big difference. And when I'm at the gym working with my trainer, she'll often have to remind me to straighten up. And I'm working on my posture when I'm walking around, trying to, strengthen my core. But when I stitch, normally I'm stitching, I'm sitting in a chair and my stitch is on my lap or, at lap level. I have to lean down, and I'm sure that doesn't help. I just have to take lots of breaks. Thank you, Tanya. She said you don't look 66 either. Thank you. And I don't think it's the weight. I think it's, I think if I had been this weight 20 years ago, I would have looked older because I wasn't as happy. There was a lot of stress in my life, and I worked really, really hard to remove it or address it and let go of things that were out of my control with family members. And when I did that, I started, I was on the road to being happier. And I think, your attitude in your everyday life, if you're happy, you're going to look healthier. You're going to look better. You're going to feel better. You're going to have more energy, at least in my little bit of experience. That's the way it's worked for me. Same thing with, making art that isn't the kind of art that makes you happy. I saw a couple of weeks ago, I saw somebody did just the most beautiful surface embroidery. And I'm just thinking, oh my God, that's gorgeous. I know all those stitches. I have those fibers. I could totally make something like that. And then I realized, but it's not the kind of creativity that gets me all excited. And so for a little bit, I was like, tempted. And then I was glad I corrected myself, because otherwise I would have been miserable. All right. So see, they're all unfolding differently. Mama said, I was blessed to go to a 6-week chronic pain program, and they taught me so many tools to cope with the pain. That's a really good idea. Just got to get past April 15th, not adding anything to my schedule. But again, I think for me, the healthier I get, the more weight I lose. The orthopedic guy told me yesterday, he's like, for every pound of weight you lose, you take 6 pounds of pressure off your joints. So 18 pounds that I've lost so far has definitely, so 18 times 6, whatever that is, that kind of pressure off my joints is why I'm able to move so much better. All right, this is going to be good. This is definitely going to be good. Okay, we need longer ones. I definitely like making knots with the thicker yarn. Now, of course, you can do this with anything. You can do this with fabric, and you get a completely different effect. You can do this with threads if you have that patience. I don't. I tried it once. I thought I'll do it with my little scraps of embroidery floss. Oh, I'd much rather make cordage with scraps of embroidery floss, and I have a video for that if that's the kind of thing you'd like to do. All right, I am coming up on time here. Thanks. Tanya did the math for me, over 100 pounds. Yep, makes sense. So I used to think, okay, be like carrying around, well, our last dog was 85 pounds. So I couldn't carry her. I couldn't pick her up. Tally at last weight was like 54 pounds. I could totally pick her up and carry her for a little ways. Not for long, but for a little ways. So, when you think, okay, if I've taken 100 pounds of pressure off my joints, that's got to affect all the other organs too. So I think what's really awesome is just that I'm enjoying moving now, which I didn't used to. Hey, Mama Boom Bam, thank you for joining us. She said, peace to everyone, and thank you for the great chat. See you next time. I'm here every Wednesday at noon California time, so we hope to see you again. And yeah, I think that about does it for me. I have got the start of some great knots. And see, I can take this and I can put my grasses in between there, and it's all going to blend in really great. Thank you, Tanya, for doing the math. 108 pounds. Wow. So I am going to head back over to my big wildscape for the rest of the day and keep stitching on it. And I hope to see you guys next week. I am glad we had such a good crowd here today. Please leave a thumbs up if you had a good time. Thank you, Tanya. She said they look fab. I think so too. And they add another texture, and you know how fun it is just to pet our things. Bye-bye, everybody. I'll see you next week.